No.
Why don't we do a take two?
Wait a minute, let's start again. Hello.
Hi, this is Ron Vodri.
This is Alex Nussbaum.
This is Jason Fraser.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Hey, this is Ray Zwicker.
All right, world. My name is Cal Post.
Guys, this is Christina Walkinshaw.
This is Eddie Deliseppi.
This is Adrian Spencer.
My name is Timo.
And you're listening to the Julian Dion
You're listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast.
Who am I talking to? What am I doing?
Julian Dion Comedy Hour.
You're listening to the...
Comedy hour. See, I took the word out comedy. Changes the meaning completely, doesn't it?
Dazing. Not really, I'm overworking, but dazing. The holidays. Happy holidays. You're listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast.
So aren't we all?
Now broadcasting live and totally uncensored, from Lemon Press Studio in the beautiful Gatineau Hills.
Project. I was like half asleep on the couch and now I'm projecting.
Hey everyone, this is Christian Potenza.
This is K. Trevor Wilson.
This is Jean Paul, a.k.a. the Island Hipster, hashtag hipster business.
This is Steph Tola.
Hey, this is Jake Goldsby.
This is Sky Wallace.
Hey everybody, this is Erica Sigurdsson, aka Ricky Siggs.
Okay, hello. Hi.
This is Howard Wagman.
Hey, this is Peter Anthony, the PA system.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Some people that's my rap name.
This is Jen Grant and you're listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast.
Show.
You and me belong, just like the flowers, laughing all day long. People, I need you loose. Sing a little song, then take a shower. Julian Dion.
It's a show. It's not an hour. It's a show. It's okay.
Such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. I went to school, yeah, I learned a lot. Got a degree in what I'm not. You spend your life looking for what you already got. It's such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. Wandering eyes and itchy feet. I'm just a thin, nervous shadow walking backwards down the street. The landing's bitter, but the following is oh so sweet.
Check. All right.
It's just a waste of time.
Welcome.
A beautiful
yeah,
waste
buddy.
of time.
Hey, buddy.
It's just a waste of time.
Welcome to the Julian Dion Show with Jen Grant, ladies and gentlemen. Coming at you. Turn this down a notch. Episode 400. Sing it. That's right. Okay. My computer's acting up for some reason. I hope it'll be good for our guest today. Aaron Berg will be joining us.
It's
not working?
Hold on. There's just, yeah. It's just a lot going on with my computer today. Anyway, yes, we're episode 400. 400.
Wowee.
Yes, that deserves a round of applause. Thank you. I just need to restart this Zoom meeting.
Okay.
comedian, New York City comedian and author Aaron Berg, our pal and yours, will join us around 8 o'clock.
Did you say author?
Yes. He has a book out, American Etiquette.
Did not know that.
Yeah, we'll talk to him about that and many other things.
On my live stream here on YouTube, it's not showing, but maybe it's just taking some time.
Did I remove the screen? Maybe it's taking time. I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
Flustered.
I know.
Just trying to... all right, hold on. Let me... I have to set up... Why would a Zoom meeting end after 40 minutes of idle time? Okay, there we go. Just starting it again.
You're asking the wrong person, I'll tell you that.
I know. I just want to make sure that the meeting is on and ready when... so we can have Aaron come right on at 8 o'clock. Anyway, good morning. Broadcasting to you from Lemon Press Studios in the beautiful Gatineau Hills. Hi. Feels weird without music. And
yeah, we're trying a bunch of new things today, so...
First video... they say video... See, if it was up to me, I would do just an audio podcast, but they keep saying that video is the future. And so here we are today with our first video guest. The pandemic is ending and we're starting videos.
Well, videos are always...
Yeah. How are you doing, Jenny? You're tired?
Wendy said it's frozen. I don't
What's
know why.
frozen?
Maybe it's just on her end. I don't know. She just said frozen.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah, I see. It's like this. See? Wonder why. We're trying some new stuff, so maybe that's the problem.
Well, there's nothing really different. Why is it doing that? Is it the internet? Internet's connected. Oh, God.
Mama Puff said frozen now for her, too.
Okay.
Huh.
Let me see here. Maybe I'll start and stop again. Or stop and start, I should say.
It's hard, eh? Because, like, Jules, you work so hard on trying to get
So
this
annoying.
prepared.
What if I turn off that thing? Let's see if this helps. I wonder if it's because I have Zoom also going and the thing here. Oh, man, it's beyond frustrating.
For sure. Choppy, Wendy said.
We don't want choppy. Why, though? There's no laughing matter.
Yeah, nice try, soundboard.
Let me see if I do this, if it helps. Close a couple things.
Okay. Oh, it looks like things look better now.
Really?
A little bit, yeah. See? Yeah.
All right. Maybe it is the Zoom thing.
Did you close Zoom?
I closed the camera off. Let me see.
Yeah, everything seems fine. Now it's delayed, but I'm
It's
usually
always
always
delayed.
delayed. Yeah.
There's always a delay.
Yeah,
That's
better now, Wendy said, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
But that sucks because what if I try to... Hold on. All right. I'm going to try something here. Wow, what a way to kick off episode 400. You'd think this would be episode 4 with the way this...
No.
Well, it's our first video thing, and I really don't want it to be choppy when Aaron is on.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, let's...
Why don't you test it out with someone on video? Like
I'm testing it right now. I'm going to do
Thanks for your patience,
auto
guys.
test. Are you tired today, Jenny?
Yeah.
Went to bed late last night?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I do this, this is where Aaron will be. It's get this out of the way. Is it choppy now? Check. 1, 2. How is everything looking?
Well, right now it seems fine, but it's like delayed, so...
You don't see the split screen
Not
yet?
yet.
As soon as you see the video... this is great audio content, by the way.
Yeah, we apologize for...
Oh, whatever. Oh, wow, you're really delayed. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what...
Oh, there we go. Well, there was 3. For a second there, we could see all 3.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on audio, we apologize for any, annoyingness trying to get things sorted. But you can also just fast forward a little bit.
Skip ahead to 1 hour in.
Actually, this is a good time to mention when will we have Aaron on, just so everybody knows.
In about an hour.
At 8 o'clock. So
okay, so
8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
It seems to be working fine now.
Yeah.
Like the split screen, even with the Zoom call. So let me try this now. If I start video, what's going to happen? All right, let's just keep broadcasting for a couple seconds and see if my movements are fluid. What does it look like? Okay. Anyway, good morning, everybody. This is
looks
episode...
fine. Looks fine.
Still?
Yep. Seems to be okay.
Okay. All right. Well, should we just end the show? Maybe this will be our last episode ever, episode 400.
Wendy said, LOL, unfortunate angle.
Well, is it why? Because it's my junk?
Yeah, it's basically right at your crotch.
Is it? Does it look fine though?
It seems fine.
Okay. Well, I don't know what happened, but we somehow sorted it.
Appreciate your help on this, gang.
Yes.
Sometimes the only way that you can try new things out is to have these bumps along the road here.
It's so annoying, though. It's so hard not to get frustrated, but whatever. So we're all good now? It's not choppy anymore?
It seems fine.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Success. All right. There. Shake it off. Thank you so much. And we'll start right now. Welcome to episode 400, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
400.
Perfect.
Wow.
400 episodes.
Can you remind me again how many episodes, like when I started being part of it?
Yeah, I had about 130 episodes at that point.
Wow.
So we've done more episodes together than I had alone. Yeah, for sure. For sure. By the way, can you show your alarms on your phone?
Why?
Because it makes my OCD flare up. I don't know what's going on in your life that this is your alarm. Open up your alarm screens or your screen. Show the people the amount of alarm. Okay, count. How many do you have in there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I don't know why I have this many. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know why.
12 alarms.
But I don't use them all.
Yes, but this is an issue. This causes my OCD to flare up. This is like your unanswered emails. You have like 3,000 unread emails. How does this happen? How do you let your life get to this point where you have 12 alarms?
I don't know.
This is an intervention. We need to clear these unread emails and.
It's more than 3,000, by the way.
How many unread emails?
7,799.
What is going on in your life?
I don't know.
Why? How do you have almost 8,000 unread emails? Does that not drive you nuts?
I don't know.
If mine gets to above like 9 unread emails, I'm like, okay, I need to get my life together here. What's happening?
I'll look at it.
But how do you even begin at 7,000? That's crazy.
I have no clue. I think it's because I have, I think I have a lot of like ads, subscriptions that I don't.
That's like, so when you go shopping at like the Gap or something they ask for your email, you give it.
Yeah.
So you get Gap emails, Bed Bath & Beyond, American Eagle.
Yeah.
Gets 77% off on your birthday.
Yes, correct.
You're so serious today. Really that tired? What time do you go to bed?
What do you want me to do with that? Like, what
I don't know.
supposed
Just
to do?
Like, you're just like sitting there. Yes. Hello.
Oh my God.
Well, here's to 400 more episodes. And, the other day I was talking about the egg.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find the right emoji.
Oh,
just
come on.
let it go.
You're browsing emojis while I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Okay, go.
It's hard when you do comments because you're just fully having a discussion, like you're chatting. You're having a whole other conversation, like picking emojis and stuff.
For 2 seconds. Okay, go. Change. Just stop. I feel under a microscope this morning. I don't like it.
I want you here with me. I want to be present in the moment. All we have is this present moment. The past is gone, and the future doesn't exist anymore. All we have is now.
Thank you.
Type. What are you possibly typing that much in the chat? What am I missing some fun? Am I missing some fun chat?
Okay, please move on.
Can you tell me what the comments are? If it's all just good mornings and you...
Jeff Bro, just on Facebook. I'm watching on Facebook and it all looks good. I wanted to let him know. Thank you for letting us know. Well, I do because I
know.
haven't heard from Jeff Bro before. Do I have to explain everything? It's nice to acknowledge the comments.
Yes, it is. I know. I just, I can feel when you're not here. I'm talking and it's falling on deaf ears.
Okay, well, this for sure, if it's annoying me this much, it cannot be enjoyable for the listener. Can we just...
Anyway, you know how like when I was talking about the egg, when you fried that hard-boiled egg, soft-boiled egg, you threw it in the pan and I couldn't get that image out of my head. And then when my parents fried up yolk for some reason, I had that image for 3 weeks. Bouncing around in there. Today, for some reason, since yesterday, all I have bouncing around my head is throw an extra stitch down there.
Oh my God.
I didn't know this was an option.
You haven't heard this before?
No, I've never heard just throw an extra stitch down there.
Explain what you're talking about.
We're talking about someone gave birth and very nonchalantly just asked the doctor, throw an extra stitch down there, make things
because I guess
more tighter.
I think a lot of times when you give birth, because my sister has bragged about not needing one of these. I don't know if she'd be comfortable talking about this, but there's something called I think it's called an episiotomy. I could be wrong, but it's. Sorry, you brought it up, so you're about to hear.
No, but
this.
what do you mean?
Just listen. No, listen. So you're not gonna like this because you're squeamish. But when a woman pushes out a baby, it happens often where
the taint tears.
Rips.
I know you can rip your taint.
So you have to have. What they do is, they make an incision purposely before it rips, so that because you're going to need it anyway. So it's an episiotomy.
And your sister was happy that she didn't have to have.
She never needed it. Yeah. Like the body's an incredible thing.
But what?
That's
the opposite of throwing an extra stitch down there. It's like you can walk right out of mine. Didn't need a stitch.
Yeah. Huh? What?
I don't know. Why would that be a pride thing? Like, oh, I don't need any stitch. Everything's loose down there. No, but I mean,
that's so rude.
No, but why would you? Anyway.
Because I think every baby's a different size too, and everybody's body is different. Like some have more elastin in it so that it can expand and then contract. Like I think there's this myth and fallacy that if you give birth to a baby, it's going to stretch so much and just stay stretched.
Right.
The body is designed to bounce back. Like, it's not like, oh, I pushed out this baby, now I have a huge giant vagina.
I know. I didn't.
Can somebody back me up here on the comments?
That it bounces back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That I
It's
know
an
what I'm
amazing
talking
thing.
about. I haven't had a baby, so I haven't experienced any of this personally. I just, I think that it's easy. I've seen comedians joke about it. I think people have this misperception.
Could someone need a stitch without having the procedure done before, where it just naturally occurs?
Like without having a baby?
Yeah. Oof.
Without having a baby?
No.
Oh.
You just go, you have like COVID symptoms, you go to the doctor, just throw an extra stitch down there.
Yeah.
It's like, but you're not pregnant. No.
I don't know.
Give it a stitch.
I mean,
no, I mean without
we're out
that
of our
little,
depth here.
little slit.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, why did I bring this up? Oh, because it's just bouncing around in my head, that term. Throw an extra stitch down there.
Oh, yeah. So
if
we were told about a friend who did that, asked the doctor, hey, while you're down there, just throw. I've heard that before. Like, throw an extra stitch. No one's commenting because they're like, oh, I don't want to go there.
Next time I go to the doctor, I'm going to say, throw an extra inch down there.
Oh, you should write that down. It's a cute joke.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There. Lit up. You're here.
Couple inches of fun. Oh, stop. I don't like
I'm not doing
that.
anything. I've moved on.
Don't address anything. Okay.
Okay.
It's really not enjoyable. LA says you need an extra stitch, otherwise you're done. I don't get it. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Huh.
Otherwise you're done?
Extra stitch, otherwise you're done?
Is that a joke that I don't understand? I discovered a new annoying phrase around the house.
What is it?
That it's kind of like the new agey equivalent to smile.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning something that I could say to you that will instantly make you in a bad mood if you're not already in a bad mood. And it's, did you meditate today? It's so loaded because I was going to ask you that yesterday. I'm like, nah, maybe that's not the best. Because I have, if you're like a little groucho or you're having an off day, it's like the worst, most condescending thing to say. Like, you just pause and go, did you meditate today? It's so loaded. Okay. Did you? No, I didn't. Did you?
Are you completely off your game right now?
Why?
Well, have you been like lifting weights or anything?
Oh, like it's been a few days.
A few?
Yeah, I was meant to. Whoops.
Why?
Why what?
No, I haven't. You.
I don't know. It's the momentum thing. You take one day off, and all of a sudden, you can't even imagine ever working out again. It's all momentum. Then you do one day, and you get that sore feeling, and you're right back into it. But I took a few days off, and I keep going. Tomorrow's day one. And it's like you said. If I was 20 days in, I wouldn't skip a day. But because I'm always starting,
because you've already completed it once. It's like,
yeah, we're talking about the 75 hard.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to do phase 1, which I've started about 6 or 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so no, it's been a few days. Not that long. What are we, Wednesday? On the weekend. Worked out. Did I?
No, I don't think you did.
Monday? When did I do was it last week?
I don't think you worked out on the weekend because when I came back from the weekend,
here we go, monitoring
all
every
the
little
weight.
thing.
No, all the weights and the mat was sitting exactly the same.
Maybe I worked out and left it exactly the same.
No chance. No.
Is that conscious? Like, do you go? You notice all these things, or it's just coincidence?
No, I don't notice it.
But you did.
No. I mean, I noticed it, but I didn't go looking for it.
Did you meditate today?
Ugh.
It's such a new agey.
Ken said premeditated. LOL.
Which part?
Premeditated. You know how like there's that term premeditated?
Yeah. Did you meditate today? Premeditate? I'm premeditated?
Yeah, it just sounds funny. Premeditated.
Yeah.
You should have laughed harder at that. That's funny.
It is. I was just trying
to you didn't
remember
give
the
Ken
context
enough for that.
There you go, Ken. Say it again.
Premeditated.
There it is. Thank you, Ken. So, can you delete your alarms?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 400. Our first video guest ever will be on, Aaron Berg, comedian and author, in about a half hour or so.
Yeah, at 8 o'clock.
If you're watching live.
Sticking around for if you are watching live, exactly. So, but even if you're not watching live, it's good to know sometimes if you only have, for instance, if you only have an hour to watch the show, it's good to know when the guest is because it's special to have Aaron on today. And I want people to hear that more than I want them to hear the entire episode.
Sure
like
is.
if you only have an hour, like if I was a listener, I'd want to know when the guest was on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
In the second hour, as they say, we'll have Aaron Berg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just we're going to retest the Zoom thing just to make sure it's all working. And yeah, all right. There. Let us know if
looking good?
I don't know. You tell me on the feed if it gets choppy at all. Anyway.
Okay.
Speaking of stitches, I read an article. There's a doctor that performed surgery on the wrong testicle. Jenny.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, way.
Mm-hmm.
The here, let me pull it up. This doctor was meant to operate on the left testicle and did a full-blown surgery on the right one. Tampa urologist demarked the patient's right testicle for removal of enlarged veins. This makes me weak for some. This is like the eggs. It's going to bounce around in my head.
Enlarged veins?
Just enlarged veins in a testicule. It did the procedure on that testicle, but it was supposed to be done on the left. What do you think his punishment was for fully just performing surgery on the wrong ball?
Slap on the wrist or slap on the testicle.
$2,500 fine.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'd be so pissed off. That should be way more than that.
Yes, it should be, Jen.
Way more.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of risks in procedures, too. You know, when I haven't had a lot of surgeries. I've had one when I was a little kid, and I didn't have to sign anything because I was a little kid. But when you do get procedures done, like when I've had family members or people I know who have had surgeries, no matter how small or large, you have to like read a bunch of forms and then sign something saying like, and it pretty much says like, you could die from this. So like putting people through unnecessary risk like that too, not only just messing up like that, but
what are the odds of going of when you go under, of perishing?
I don't know.
Can you look it up? No?
Yeah, 1 second. Jeez.
Did you have coffee today?
Ugh.
Did you meditate?
Ew.
What time did you come to bed, by the way?
Like 10:30.
Oh, I thought that's really not that crazy.
Oh, really? Mr. went to bed at 8?
Yeah. But like serving in a restaurant, I've brought guac to the wrong table. Imagine just operating on a
guac. That's funny. Would you tell someone if you accidentally got guac? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't say, "Oh, I don't think this is ours." Not when it comes to guac, because you could be like, "Oh my God, do they just like offer complimentary guac?"
Oh my goodness. Oh, child, yeah.
It says, okay, this must be from the UK because it says operating theater. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
The risk of dying in the operating theater under anesthetic is extremely small. For a healthy person having planned surgery, around one person may die for every 100,000 general anesthetics.
That to me doesn't seem really low.
No, I know. Brain damage as a result of having an anesthetic is so rare that the risk has not been put into numbers.
That to me seems a high risk. 1 in 100,000 that I'm not going to wake up again?
I know.
Oh, God, I thought it was like...
And like to make that mistake on the wrong part of the body and then have to go in and do it again, it should be more than, I think it should be more than 20, well, how much? $2,500?
Yeah. By the way, actually, speaking of health issues, the reason we haven't, I was going to tell you, this is the podcast affects our daily life because often I want to tell you something and I'm like, I'll just wait for the show tomorrow. So we haven't had a Matt Murdock OOTD review for the last 2 days because Matt had a health scare, actually. I talked to him yesterday. And so he had a big time health scare. He was doing some work and on his computer at home, and he went to the bathroom and he noticed that his neck and face were blue. Like
what?
Like what
was wrong?
As if you pulled the dead body out of the water blue, like internal bruising, bleeding all over his neck and face. His hands, and then he took off his shirt, and his torso was blue, like this bruising. So right away, he full blown panic attack, like that wave of anxiety that you get when you something beyond your control.
Did he feel bad? Did he feel sick?
Well, all of a sudden he went downstairs, and Chelsea, his wife, was there, and he's pacing back and forth. He's like, I don't feel well. I don't want to. She's like, well, Matthew, what's going on? You're freaking me out. And he's like, do I look blue or something? And she's like, oh my God, your neck, your face is blue. Your torso is blue. He's like, I know something's wrong. I don't feel good. And he's like pacing and full blown panic attack, full blown. I talked to him after. He thought it was organ failure, like something was wrong. He thought he was actually dying then and there, so he went into this catastrophic panic attack. And then Chelsea goes up to the bedroom where he was working, and she goes, "There's blue dye all over the bed, like in the bed." So it was actually a cheap shirt. It is a cheap shirt.
Oh my God.
So it was a cheap shirt that he was wearing that he got from like Winners or something, he said, and it bled like on him. It was like a navy blue shirt.
Oh my God.
But it was so pale that it looked like bruising, like internal bleeding.
Oh my God. I'm like, I've never heard of this condition.
Yeah, so he goes, I thought I had organ failure. I go, does that even happen when you have organ failure? Like, do you know? He's like, I don't know. I just like all of a sudden my neck and face were blue, and he took off his shirt and his whole torso was like this pale blue. Like, and then so he felt fine, but as soon as he saw that, he had a panic attack. So he went downstairs and he's like, I don't feel well. And you know when you're trying to tell someone you're not feeling well, and you kind of get mad because you don't want to address it too much or talk about it, and they're like, what's wrong? And all you can see is latch on to one phrase. So he kept saying, I don't feel well. I just don't feel well. I don't know what's going on. And then and she also noticed the blue, and she's like, oh my God, you are blue. Anyway, he was all bent out.
Also, whenever you look weird, you can convince your brain.
Oh, he was instantly convinced. And so he texted me yesterday. He goes, sorry, I missed the show the last couple of days. I've been really bent out of shape today. Like I had a big time scare. So I talked to him, and he made himself sick, basically. He goes, I haven't been feeling good all day because of it. Like since then, like he actually thought he was dying.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Well, I hope to hear from him today because he knows he's not dying.
Yeah, I know. But I really thought you were going to laugh more at that. Like when I heard that, I was on my bike yesterday, and I was freak out laughing.
Can we also acknowledge the fact that it's like really, really funny when Matt tells stories, and also when you're the person who went through it and you don't expect it.
He goes, I couldn't think, like I wasn't all day. He was fucked up. So anyway, that's why We haven't heard from him.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And I could just
Oh,
picture
that's
him
funny.
telling the story because he's so funny.
Oh yeah, he was just he was totally just bent out of shape. Like,
It's funny too because he's very descriptive and like he's like this big tough guy, but he's also how would you describe him?
yeah, he's just really funny.
Like kind of he's like a big teddy bear. He's like a sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do the thing because
Yeah.
it's already 22? We lost so much time off the top with the technical glitch.
Yeah, let's do it.
And so we'll do the daily dose and then get
love
AB on the line.
Love it.
Daily dose, get the news from coast to coast.
Why that face?
Daily dose, all your news from coast to
All
coast.
the news and headlines from Jen Grant.
Here's Daily Dose for Wednesday, June 23rd. I heard on the news today that Ottawa only has 8 new cases of COVID.
8?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That low?
Yeah.
That's great.
And I didn't hear the exact number, but we hit a record of most vaccines given in a day recently.
How much? How many?
I know, I didn't get the number, but it's like a crazy, really good number. And it makes, basically the number indicates there's less vaccine hesitancy than people anticipated in the capital. So oftentimes we'll talk about cases and things in Ottawa only because this is like the area that we live in, but also representative of probably much of the country, and which is very positive. Julian's gone, which is my big pet peeve during my segment because there's no reaction or feedback for what I'm saying. And so that's fun, right? It's good. So Ken said, reminds me of the orange penis joke. I don't know what that joke is. And I would like to wait for Julian so that I can actually have some interaction with him for these stories, because I'm going to speed right through them if I don't have any interaction. So I will say this. I am glad that he is, because we have a guest coming on. Like I said, Aaron is very entertaining, very good comedian, originally from Canada, and now has lived in New York for, I guess, apparently it's been almost 10 years. Or it's been 10 years.
It's been 10. We left 10 years ago.
Now, I didn't continue because I wanted your interaction.
Okay, sorry.
'Cause otherwise, I'd speed right through this DD.
Well,
So apparently, it's okay. So apparently next week, Quebec is going into the green zone.
What does that mean?
I'd have to I'm going to dig deeper into this news story, but I slept in late today, listened to the news on the radio, and these are the highlights. So this is very exciting. The green zone, the highlights of the green zone basically is that indoor dining is going to be allowed. 10 people can sit at a table inside.
From different addresses?
Yep. And 20 people can be outside gathering. So it's really, really, really great.
Party at our house.
Party. Did you hear this, Jules? Protesters
When does this
blocked next week, apparently. Protesters blocked traffic on the Trans-Canada Highway yesterday to protest Nova Scotia's restrictions on travelers from New Brunswick. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, because you still have to isolate in Nova Scotia.
No, only from New Brunswick people. That's what
only
they were
New
upset
Brunswick
about.
people can.
You know why? Because New Brunswick is the only province in the Atlantic bubble that has opened up for other travelers from Canada.
So
Nova Scotia doesn't.
But we can't go to Nova Scotia without isolating.
Correct. But within the bubble.
Oh, within the bubble?
Yeah, like anyone from any Atlantic province can go into the Nova Scotia without isolating, except for New Brunswick.
It feels like I can't believe we're still having this discussion.
I know.
Isn't COVID over? I feel like like this feels like a last summer conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know, it's crazy.
How long would that
Nova Scotia's last minute decision to open up to all 3 Atlantic provinces but require anyone entering from New Brunswick to self-isolate because they're worried that New Brunswick is going to have all this exposure from the rest of the country.
Yeah, but people are getting
right now.
People are getting vaccinated and all. Like, what are they talking about?
I don't know. They're really upset. People are very upset in Nova Scotia because a lot of people are wanting to see their family. They haven't seen like their kids and their grandkids and for months and months. So they're super pissed. So if you come in from New Brunswick, you have to prove that you've had 2 doses, and you have to also you have to prove that you've had 2 doses at least 14 days ago, and you'd have to self-isolate and show that you have a negative test.
It's crazy.
I know. And I guess people are complaining, why didn't all the provinces, and this is a good argument, people are complaining, why didn't all the provinces come together on a united front with a plan for reopening? You know?
Well, like we're going green. Like people are, New Brunswick's going to be green. Provinces are going green zones. How are we, how is Nova Scotia still?
I know.
I don't get it.
Well, maybe it's because Nova Scotia just had that terrible, they just had so many cases and it was really bad. But the Nova Scotia Premier was actually interviewed.
You okay over there?
Nova Scotia Premier was interviewed and he said, like, it was just so down to earth. He was like, well, we tried to have a group business call, but no one showed up. So I just went ahead and made a plan myself. Also, but it is kind of weird that New Brunswick would just decide that without considering the rest of the Atlantic bubble. But on the other hand, why is there an Atlantic bubble? Why isn't there a, Eastern bubble? Why isn't
Canada? Just open the.
Well, it's kind of weird. Why is it Atlantic bubble, but there's no like Ontario, Quebec bubble? You know what I mean? Why is that?
Because the cases were so low there.
Right.
Cases here were high, like pretty high.
True. That's true. What was I gonna? I was gonna talk about something else, but it's not as uplifting and positive.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Really?
Yes.
So remember we talked about Paul Bernardo yesterday?
Yes.
So, I was saying that it must be very hard on the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I heard on the news this morning that families are expressing that, actually. The family is expressing that it's hard to have to go through every 2 years. Not only do they have to go through the emotional turmoil.
Oh, he can have a parole hearing every 2 years?
I know.
That's crazy.
And they also have to, like, it's hard to be reminded all the time, but also not only that, they have to prepare stuff too. They actually have to prepare an argument.
Like victim impact statements and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And they say that and they actually were talking about how Bernardo has not shown improvements and he hasn't been doing the program he's supposed to be doing. Now, why are we even talking about that as far as someone like him goes? I am going to go out on a limb and say, I don't give 2 shits what you've done to improve yourself after you've done what you've done.
Yeah.
I don't think no matter what he's done, he should never get out of prison.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's even eligible for parole. Like he'll never get it, but that's to me it makes no sense. But
yeah, like why even care if he's improved? I don't care how much you've improved. What you've done, you should never see the light of day. Never.
Yeah.
You could turn your life around, be the nicest guy in prison, do all these great things. You could even coordinate some kind of like, life-saving, fundraising, philanthropist. I don't care what you did. You should never get out of prison if you're that guy. And there's solid 100% proof that that's what's happening. There's no way you should get out. And so why even entertain it? If I was the sister of someone that he killed And they're going, well, let's analyze how he's behaved. Who the fuck cares how he's behaved?
Yeah.
Who cares? The fact that they're even entertaining that and listening to what he's done, that's insulting to the life he stole.
It is.
It pisses me off. And
You're
I'm not even
fired up.
part of the family. Oh my God. Well, imagine being part of that family. Oof. Anyways. I wish I'd started. I have to do
That sounded like a Tarzan.
Yeah, I know. I have to do it in different orders. I made that classic, but this is a little better, but it's still not good.
Oh, because you started
There's
happy
more,
and you're going
yeah,
depressed?
There's more and more. Or
You know
not
why?
happy, but lighter.
You know why? Did you meditate today?
You need to stop that.
Okay.
You need to start that. Did you lift weights today?
No. Yeah, but it's not I'm in a good mood.
You need to start. Yeah, it's true. Well, no, but I have a strong opinion and about that and certain things.
No, but you're correct on this one.
Yeah. And I'm fired up because when I heard that on the radio, I'm like, why does anyone care? Anyways, why is it the point should be moot?
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's more and more eating disorders among teens during the pandemic. And one of the reasons for that is because the mental health of all of us, but also when you're, one thing that we were very lucky when we were growing up, we didn't have to go through this kind of thing as a teenager because there's social interactions that form us as a adult.
Right.
So as teens, they're not able to hang out with their friends, play sports, be part of groups, do these things, having even a job and going to a job and learning like how life works and interactions and stuff. One of the other things is because we've been at home, all you're getting is the social media. All you're getting for connect and self-perception and stuff. Like I see like filters and it's like it's not real. So it's
everybody uses filters now. There's no
know.
picture you can take without a filter.
It's stupid.
But then you see them. Remember I busted my buddy on it?
Yeah.
He posted in his timeline and he looked like a 14-year, like his face was all smoothed out.
Yeah.
It gave him like big brown eyes and like a little mouth and a little pointy chin, but like just subtle enough that I was like, something's off here.
Yeah.
And I was like, nice filter, bro. And he's like, well, what? Should I just pose with my wrinkly like old man face and be like, hey, yes.
Yeah. Get some good lighting. I mean, there's nothing wrong with standing in front of some daylight.
But filter every picture, even just like regular pictures, you're just like sitting at a restaurant with friends and stuff. They add filters, the little pointy little alien face.
I know.
Little chin, smooth face, the big brown, like big glowing eyes.
It's also extra crazy when I see like, my niece who's gorgeous and perfect. Like if you want to say perfect, like young, perfect, no wrinkles, and they're filtered. Like to me, that's sad. It's like you're already so beautiful. It is though.
Yeah.
It's like, this, I can't believe, anyway. So it'll be nice when we're past this.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that was
I'm going to
so that
call
was
this
just the story. Just
the
there's
daily
more
downer.
Yeah, really.
Forget the daily dose. That is the story. That's it.
That's just
Sorry, guys.
There's more eating disorders among youngins.
Yeah.
Okay. This board I get 750.
Daily dose, get the news from coast to coast.
Why that face?
Daily dose, all your news from coast to
All
coast.
the news and headlines from Jim Grant.
Where are you going?
Don't worry about it.
You need rest on show nights, show days. Are you gone for good? Erin's going to be on in a minute. And there she goes, Jen Grant. She'll be back. Let me see what topics I had chosen before we bring Erin on. See if there's anything worth exploring. We did the doctor surgery on the wrong testicle. That went nowhere. That's okay. Sometimes I bring up these topics. I throw shit on the wall and see what sticks. Often nothing. Or sometimes nothing. Well, often. The world gained 5.2 million millionaires during COVID. And there's no other reason I'm bringing this up other than... here's a message to all of the 5.2 new millionaires, 5.2 million new millionaires in the world. We're looking for sponsors, so you're obviously thriving. Consider sponsoring our show. There it is. It's been our message to the 5.2 million new millionaires in the world since COVID. Did you hear my? That was the.
Wow.
That's another one of those stories that pretty much starts and ends with the headline. The world gained 5.2 million millionaires during COVID. Boom. Why single people smell different? That's another article I pulled up. The answer to that is Axe body spray. It's the only reason. Why do single people...
That's why they're so single.
It's why people... That was literally the article. Whoops. Why single people smell different? Because married couples don't shower as much.
Hey, by the way, Michelle brought up a good point. She said it's so stupid people from PEI can come to New Brunswick and then go to Nova Scotia. So...
Oh, I'm sensing some yeah, that was clearly a decision he made on his own. Like on that business call, he said like no one showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. What else did I have here? Woman robbed at gunpoint on Zoom.
Whoa.
And yeah, anyway. Maybe if we have time after, I'll pull up those articles. Aaron will be on here any minute now. Any comments you want to address, Jen, before we get into...
Ken said, are we waiting for... Because it's 8 o'clock.
7:58. I told them to...
Okay. Ken says a guy... he said something about... Reminds me of the orange penis joke. A guy wakes up and goes to the bathroom and sees his penis is orange. He panics and calls his doctor. His doc asks what he was doing the night before, and he said watching a show and eating cheesies. Gross.
Watching a show? Wouldn't it be watching porn?
It doesn't matter. Eating cheesies is the punchline.
Right.
Ew.
Yeah, but if you're watching Law and Order, you're not...
How do you know? I'm sure some guys would. People.
Ooh. All right.
Wendy says you're very serious with your moves when you dance. It's true.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the clubbing face. It's the white boy clubbing face. You do some tongue work, tongue in cheek.
Ew.
It's very serious because it's very sexy. And sexy is serious.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What else do we have? Well, let me just start this. Let me just start it, and then when Aaron comes on,
I'm excited.
We'll just stop. Same here. It's been.
This is the first time we're gonna see someone, so it's gonna feel more.
I know. I'm a little on edge.
I know. I can tell.
Really? Well, it's because of the video component. It's like I wish.
Let's give it a whirl.
I wish we could have maybe done this one audio too, just so. Hold on. You can tell I'm on edge?
A little bit.
All right. Let's see if we... Okay, he's here. Let's bring him in.
Fun.
Right on time. Right on time, I believe we are live with our friend and yours, the very funny and talented Mr. Aaron Berg.
Oh, can't hear him.
Yeah, he's on doing the mute thing.
Oh, he is, you little brat. You're such a brat.
Hi, guys.
Hi, there he is.
Hi, Aaron.
AB.
Oh my gosh,
How
your
are
house
you?
looks so nice.
I'm in the sunroom.
It's so nice. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
You just moved there, right? In Jersey?
Yeah, in March. I was telling my daughter this morning about the very first day I moved to New York when I drove here, and you guys were my roommates, and we got to our old house in Astoria.
You showed up in your Jeep. I remember standing in the street to kind of go guide you in, show you where we were living, and you showed up in your Jeep with all of the fervor in the world. Excited and to take on the world. Then we showed you your bedroom, and everything. The reality came crashing down. I
looked at the bedroom and I said, "What have I done?
What have I done?" I remember you getting a futon.
A brown leather futon, leatherette futon that I thought I could sleep on. I did not have one good night's sleep for the first year that I was there. My arms would fall asleep while I was sleeping. It was very uncomfortable.
And I remember you sitting on that futon in an empty room and just saying, "What have I done?" Just over and over. What have I done? I had a life.
It was so worth it. Piper, say hi.
Oh my
Hey,
goodness,
Piper.
Hi. You're so cute, Piper.
Bully.
Oh my goodness, she's so cute.
Can you go to school now, please? I'll see you in a bit. Thank you.
Aaron, your house
Bring the
is
car
gorgeous.
back. Oh, thank you.
I love it.
There's the
It's so
walk-through
big.
fireplace. That's the pièce de résistance. Well, the sunroom, we really see. It's the sunroom, and then
Beautiful.
we get deer that come by.
Okay, you must be so happy there.
What a difference from the city. Like like with an outdoor living
Look
space.
at your house.
That's our fireplace that we love. Do you see it?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's so nice.
Yeah.
Wait,
And
does that
then,
have glass there? Is there glass?
No.
Oh,
it's
wow.
wide open.
So do you worry about your daughter or no?
No, we just say don't do it. And then and then I'll show you.
Don't do it.
Then the lake is right down there
Oh my God.
at the bottom of the hill.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice.
Beautiful.
It's we're only like
Look at your
35
ceiling.
minutes.
Oh, anyway,
I know.
I'm loving your house. I'm really loving your
Thanks.
house.
What are you, 35 minutes to the city?
Yeah, that's it. And then you go
Beautiful.
in and you guys would love it. Do you guys like heroin and feces on the streets?
That's the first thing we look for when we move somewhere.
It's really gone downhill. It'll bounce back, but it's not a good time for New York City right now. The two mayoral candidates are Curtis Sliwa. Do you remember him?
No.
No.
Remember the Guardian Angels in the 80s, the guys that would wear the red berets and
Yes.
go on the subways and try. He was the guy that founded the Guardian Angels. So you get the gist of where he's coming from. He's very pro-police. It would be incredibly Trumpian if he were to become mayor. And then he's running against Eric Adams, who I met at James Altucher's party. And Eric is a Brooklyn guy. Black dude, also very strongly pro-police, but he said some controversial things like, if you weren't born in New York, we don't need you here. So it's a very divisive time, but they do need somebody in office that's going to clean the place up, and it's going to take some time.
Is he the candidate that gave a tour of his Brooklyn apartment and people are suspecting it's his kid's apartment?
Yes, that's correct.
There's like nothing in the fridge and just like a wall full of Jordans. Like,
Yeah,
and he's like, no, I live here as a grown man. This is clearly my basement apartment in Brooklyn.
It looked like a divorced dad's like studio apartment or something.
And it's amazing what people will dig up. Like, and then they found that he tweeted a picture of his refrigerator, like the contents of it, like a few years back, and they did a side-by-side shot of what it looks like now. And there's just like a Brita with like old salami in there.
It's interesting. It's nice to live outside. Where are you guys? In Montreal?
No, we're actually in Wakefield, which is just about 25 minutes north of Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
But
That's nice.
it's great.
It's so
I mean,
nice.
we live in the woods. It's phenomenal. We live on an acre in kind of like the Gatineau Hills overlooking the river, and it's great. I mean, it's more driving in our lives, but I mean, who cares? It's
Who
It's
cares?
worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, I love my home. Like,
When did you buy
yesterday,
it?
In March.
Okay.
We closed mid-March, but it was, I had this inkling when the thing started. I wanted to get a house for the past couple of years, and Christine was dragging her feet.
Your wife?
Yeah. And she's a comedian too. We were last night joking about like how everyone, when you talk to couple comedians, like it must be so fun.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Cut to you over Julian's head with a pillow while he sleeps. So it was an idea where like beginning of the pandemic, that was when you should have done it, when we were like, oh, okay, we should go. And then we just kept putting it off. And so there were 22 offers on our house. And we paid probably 14% over asking.
Wow. Still, that's not too crazy.
I love where I live. Like I literally go bass fishing 30 seconds away. I get to go golfing a minute and a half away. Wow. I get to shoot guns now. There's so much cool stuff I get to do. I say this on stage. I go, I moved out of New York City and I moved to America. And it's just like that feeling.
You know, I talked to Nikki Payne, who decided to move to small town New Brunswick. And I said, what's the big, because I remember when she first did it, I was like, how is she going to continue, having a career and touring and still being a comedian? And she kind of inspired me to consider doing it because I was like, it's possible. You don't have to live in a big city.
Yeah, I fully agree.
And
Can you tell them? Say your fork broke? And I'll fix it for you after. Can you go, Mom's going to clean your nose. Look at that, guys. Boogies. Get your boogies. Everybody smiles. Say hi, Jen and Julianne.
Hi,
Say nice to meet you. Say now I'm going to go get ready for school.
Aww.
Okay. So Nikki was saying, it made sense to do it.
And she said that like having the slow pace is addictive. Like when you go from, you know what I mean? Because then you can choose the fast pace when you want. But if your home is slow paced, she said, I don't think I can go back to constant fast paced in a city. Because there's something really nice about the nature and being home and being centered and being like slow.
Yeah. I think here's the thing. You get out of the grind a little bit, but it's also a good thing because you're not doing this thing where, compare and despair is a big thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking and you're like, these people are hustling and they're at this club doing all these spots, but you're like, oh, okay, look what I'm doing. I'm doing more productive spots because every time I go in, I'm working on something. And the other half of my life is way better because I'm hanging out with my daughter. I'm doing stuff with my wife, or I'm going to the beach. And it's like, there's a happiness in stepping away from that grind. And that grind is great. You have to do it for years. But there's also a point where it's like, okay, we're going to figure out a different way to do this now. Like success in stand-up is not determined by spots anymore. Like you look at the people that are crushing it, whether you agree with them or not. And it's like an Andrew Schultz, a Tim Dillon, and these people are grinding, but it's like they could be grinding wherever they are.
Right.
And just be like, okay, I'm going to Orlando. I'm going to sell out 5 shows. And then I'll do 3 hours of podcast content. And guess what? I made $3 million this year. And you're like, wait a minute, but I've been slamming it out for $25 spots 20 times a week. So it's like the model has shifted so much. Hang on one second. Honey.
I love the muting and then just trying to guess what he's saying. Honey.
You want to say hi to Jen and Julian on their show? Sure. Here's my wife, Christine. Hang on. Say hi.
We're doing a show.
Hey, we're doing a show.
At 8 o'clock in the morning. You guys are insane.
Yeah, we live in the woods and the internet sucks any other time, so we have to do it in the morning. But
well, and you look great. I look like somebody beat me with a bat.
No, you don't. You look cute.
Don't tell them that.
I said you look cute.
Oh, thanks. You guys are cute. Okay.
Okay,
nice
get
to
her
meet
out of
you.
here. Bye. Love you. See you later. Okay, problem solved.
Have you found now that you're living in the not in the city anymore? Do you is your schedule different? Like, do you wake up earlier in the morning than you did in the city, or like less late nights?
Well, with the baby, you're always up. I'm always up at like 7. Right. But it was like that for a while, and I did a morning show for a while too. Like at Compound, we used to do I guess we were 9 a.m. So I would be up at 6 when this was back in Astoria. I'd hit the gym on Broadway and then go in. So I was up at 6, but now it's just like, we're exhausted. You're just exhausted because I go into the city twice a day now. I take the bus in to do the show in the afternoon, take the bus back, and then at night to do spots, I'll drive in. So it's like, that's a lot of travel. And even though it's like 35, 40 minutes, it adds up. That's 4 of those, right? So
no kidding.
You used to go up pretty much every night. Are you taking nights off now?
I'm trying to take nights off, but now it's like, okay, the clubs are back fully. So I always take Sundays off now, no matter what. I'm like, I'm not, unless something's like, hey, here's so much money that you need to work on a Sunday. I'll take Sundays off. And then I try and stay home on Wednesdays because Christine runs a show in Forest Hills, Queens on Wednesdays. So I'm like, I don't need to go out that night. I can stay home with Piper. So I usually try and take Wednesdays and Sundays off. And then the rest of it, the weekend. And I don't push. I used to do 7 or 8 on a Saturday.
What?
And now I'm like, now I'm like 3 or 4. That's good.
Wow.
And
That's
so I'll just like, 3 or 4, I find like on a weekend you can work out.
Yeah.
With shorter, and you guys have to do like real long sets up there when everything opens again. I feel so badly for what's happening. Do you feel badly?
Well, it's just like, especially comparing to the States where you guys started off, it was like a dumpster fire and with all the cases and the deaths. And then now you guys are so far ahead and in the clear. I mean, for months now, some states have been fully open, unmasked. And so we're just like, we're so behind. I mean, we're this morning talking about Nova Scotia. You still have to isolate 14 days when you go there. It's just like crazy.
Like it amazes me that we all make fun of like Florida and Texas and like these hillbilly redneck. Who's going to listen to them? And they're like, everything's fine. No mask. Just get out there. Let's pack baseball stadium. And you're like, oh my God, these people were right.
And nothing happened.
It's just nothing because they were right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really a confusing time. Look, I'm glad that the world got through it, but there's a lot of issues that are going to have to be ironed out. And I feel so bad. My mom, like, she went to buy a birthday card in Canada and they're like, no, you can't buy that. And she's like, why? That woman in front of me just bought a card. She's like, oh, that was a mother's card. That's essential. Birthday cards are not essential. I swear. At a dollar store.
Yeah, they're kind of making it all up still as they go along, and we feel so far. I like 6 months ago we were like looking down on the States, being like, look at what's happening down there. Oh my God! And now we are months behind.
People are calling you a police state.
Yeah,
like people are saying Canada's a police state. Here's what America has going for it. America, as divisive as it is, has this thing where it's like, you ain't taking my freedom. You ain't taking my guns. You ain't taking what I can say. Now, those things are the crux of the country. Add on top of that, of course, the original sin of slavery. But that being said, those things are the crux of this country. So that's instilled in people where after a while, they're like, all right, this seems off. I'm going to stand up. And they do. In Canada, anyone that's like protesting or something is really frowned upon. They're like, no, you're going to make more people sick. Don't go out and protest and don't exercise this free speech. So that's why it's taking longer for me. And to see the medical system fail the way it did in terms of vaccines, where Canada basically was touted as having the best healthcare system in the world, if not one of the top 3, to see the way that this debacle happened with like the vaccines and stuff was really, it's really upsetting. Like my parents, it took them forever to get it. And then my dad got 2 and now they're like, oh, he may need a 3rd one because he has a kidney transplant. And I'm just like, what's even going on up there? Like, why don't you just vaccinate everybody and then just follow the science and get it done with? It must be so frustrating.
It is, and it was especially at first when they were so obsessed with the age groups, and we were doing like 80 plus, and down there in the States, everyone was getting their second dose. Like we're still only at 20% of the people having had both doses. We're still waiting for our second dose. I mean, yeah, we've been dragging our feet to say the least. But
did you guys know anyone that got sick? I asked this on stage the other night. Like, did you know anyone that got sick or died from COVID?
Sick, yes. And actually, know of someone that died here. Around here, there's a restaurant owner. He was 53. One of his staff came in to work with symptoms, and he died a few days later.
Yeah. I know more people that died, and they were all in Canada, and it was all either drug overdose or suicide because of the lockdowns. You remember like Brendan that used to work at the Yes in Toronto, and then there was someone else that I just got a random
Was that
call
a car
about.
accident? That one?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speculate,
yeah.
but I heard something totally. I heard they found him in his apartment with his girlfriend, and they were embracing each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just assumed car wreck when I saw that both of them had died. I just assumed, but yeah, it's crazy. Ontario was like the longest locked down place in the world.
It's nuts. They call the police on their neighbors.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on for sure.
Yeah, and I think being in Toronto, if you're in a small apartment, like we moved here to the country. Before that, we were in a small apartment, really small, with no outdoor space. If we were there during that lockdown, whoo, man, I can't even imagine what that would have been like on the mental health. Here we have an acre, we can walk around, we can go swimming, we can garden. Like even in the winter wasn't so bad because you could like go out and at least walk around and like but
we had curfews here. You could not leave your property between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. It was
understand.
It was a $1,550 fine if you got caught off of your property. That when the curfew kicked in, it really felt like The Purge. It felt like we're in a movie or something.
Felt crazy, yeah.
Yeah, before
we had it in New York too for a while, and it was like at the height of the BLM stuff too. So it was like you didn't know why you had a curfew. You're like, is it because of BLM or because of COVID? And we lived in Forest Hills, Queens, which was a gorgeous neighborhood. And during those few weeks, you're like, oh, there's gunshots. I hear gunshots.
Yeah.
And you never did before. And you're like, oh, this is like 2 blocks away. So I bought a tomahawk when we first came back because you can't get guns in New York. So I bought like a tomahawk.
Like an axe?
Keep it by the bed. So like an axe. And then we had like knives around. And like I finally just got my gun permits approved here in Jersey. So I'm getting like 2 handguns, which I'm very excited about. Like those days when you come to America and like you get your O1 visa or your green card and you have these exciting moments. And I was like, I got my guns approved. I'm going to be in America.
But you're a Canadian, Aaron. How do you feel about gun control? Have you completely changed or have you always been good with guns?
I mean, I used to shoot them for the movie. I living here, I believe that you should be able to have a gun in your house. There's no uncertain thing about that. I also believe in background checks. And I believe I don't think mentally ill people should be carting handguns around. And I'll differ on that with like other staunch 2A defenders that are like, it doesn't say in the Constitution that if you're mentally ill, you can't have a gun.
Like, how do you even argue that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that, but I did it legally and I went through the thing and it's been like a 3-month process and I still don't even have my guns in my possession. Someone custom made me an in hot water gun that's being shipped to me. So then it's like, they have to be shipped to a place. Then you have to go do another background check. I've done 2 state background checks already. One for New York and one for New Jersey. By the way, it's harder to get your car registration switched over than it is to get guns.
Right.
But it's not easy to get guns. But we've been trying to get our car registration switched from New York to New Jersey. It's been 3.5 months. I've gotten the guns quicker. It's insane.
Sorry to interrupt, Jules. I know you're about to say something, but Aaron, can you get everybody pumped up about all the stuff you've done? Can you tell us everything you've done in your career? You've done so well. You've had an interesting career. And then since you've been in New York, it's really like all your hard work and sacrifice and everything has really paid off. Jules has told me some stuff I didn't even realize that you've done. Things are going so well for you. Tell us.
Boy, I don't even know where. I mean, I used to do comedy with you guys all the time at Yuck Yucks in Canada, which is a veritable Canadian institution. And then years ago, I packed up my Jeep, drove from Toronto, left my fiance and moved into an apartment with you guys and Christine Von Hagen.
Yeah.
And then at one point, another successful comedian, Nathan McIntosh, moved in, who, by the way, yells far too much for my liking. But he's just so loud. He's so funny, but he's so loud. And then I got here. I hold the world record for most comedy shows in a night. I did 25 sets in one night in New York City.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. There's a documentary about it called 25 Sets.
Documentary called 25 Sets, which is a love letter to New York City comedy. That's on Amazon. Very well received.
Can you just to elaborate on that a little bit? How do you do 25 sets in a night? Like, what time did you start? What time did you finish?
I started at 4 p.m. We finished at 2:40 a.m. And all the spots except one were in Manhattan. The first one was at the Creek in the Cave. And then there was, I believe, 18 club spots and 7 bar show spots. And it was crazy. It was great. The old record was 13. Steve Byrne had done that. And, you know, you guys lived in New York. So there's this excitement. There's this ability to get on stage so much. And there's so many shows. And it's, you know, a numbers game compared to Canada where, you know, you could maybe do 2 or 3 in a night. Here, there's like all these clubs. And on a Friday or Saturday, they'll run 4 or 5 shows a night. So there's this possibility to run around. That was something I really was enamored by, was the pure repetition and how that would make you a better comic. Because when I moved here, I was still doing the same act that I'd been doing for years. And then you do so many spots a week, you're like, I can't keep doing this and be true to myself. So artistically, you evolve. And for me, it was like, I'm just going to go to crowd work and go up on stage with nothing and start doing that. And I did that for years. And then it's like you evolve out of that. You're like, okay, now I want to be topical and talk about everything that's going on and push the boundaries in terms of that. So there was this beautiful thing about New York, you know, and I think it's going to come back to where it's just the pure repetition. And you guys know every show you do in New York is different. Some are full of tourists. Some are filled with bridge and tunnel weird people. Some are all black shows. Some are super woke. Some are really oddly conservative. So there's this beautiful blend here. The 25 sets was a great thing. And I think it was right after that, I also did, you know, this story that I'd been doing for years and years, that hot chocolate story. I was able to get that on Comedy Central on This Is Not Happening. And that to me was like a major win, because that was something that everyone was like, that's never going to be on TV. Why would you do a story like that? And so that was a major win. And then
what's the story? I don't know it.
Oh, the hot chocolate story?
No.
Well, it's on Comedy Central on This Is Not Happening.
Okay.
It may not be good to discuss it on your show because it's a little explicit, but it's basically from when I was a stripper and I got paid to do some quote unquote sex work in front of other people, but it's on Comedy Central.
Well, you know, I love your honesty, right? I've told you that before. Like, it's so rare in life that somebody does not give a shit at all what other people think. And it's refreshing as hell. Like, so few people do it. Comedians alike, like even comedians, many comics, like myself included, there's a little part of me that's like, I don't know if I should say this. And you just go for it, which when you're watching you perform, you feel that. And like that, just that is very entertaining.
Yeah. You're just so honest.
I think it's something to unlock, right? Is to like shut down that inner censor. And it's weird when you get married, it gets harder to do that because there's like stuff I want to say all the time, but I know I'm like, I don't need this 10-minute fight.
Yeah.
So that's a weird thing too. But yeah, I think it should be free, right? Like it should be this unabashed form of expression. And especially now, like we had 4 people walk into Frantic the other night at the stand, and right away you knew, you know, for better or worse, they're woke. And it's like they wanted to be controversial right away. They're like, you're bombing. Everyone's offended. And you're like, no, they're not. But you just have this, okay, I get. And then sure enough, they walked out after the next comic when they were like, this is not what comedy should be. So there's this, I don't know. It's not a game of, it is a game of finesse, but it's also a really raw, bloody art form, right? Like that's the best stuff you do, is the stuff you just kind of rip out of you that you either don't feel like you should be saying. And that's what resonates with everybody is honesty. That's
true. That's the thing.
People ask how I can get away with what I get away with. I hear that a lot. They're like, you can say anything. Why? It doesn't come from a place of hatred. So that's where that thing where it's like, it's racist or it's homophobic. That argument is just null and void immediately. I think the most racist people are the people that don't want to talk about race ever, and they just push it to the side.
True.
And then it's just like, that honesty and that curiosity, that's what connects people. That's the unifying force. So that's why it goes over. There's just this thing that connects. I don't know.
It is, you hit it on the head. It is the honesty. That's what people relate to the most, because we all have those thoughts and think a certain way, but none of us are honest enough to express them in certain situations, whether it's on stage or even just in a group setting. You censor yourself. And I remember talking to you about this, because you're implicitly honest and you're on stage and off stage. And I remember you saying this is 10 years ago, but you were saying, this is a recent enough shift in my life. I used to lie all the time. And then you said just something clicked, and it doesn't make any sense to lie, like to make anything up.
Lying is the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, are you guys totally bluntly honest with each other, or do you sometimes go, okay, I gotta kid glove this answer? Because I'm guilty of that sometimes. In my relationship, my wife will be like, what about this, and I'll be like, okay, yeah. I'm like, all right, yeah, I just swallowed that. When it's like, because my wife has a good sense of humor, but if I start roasting her the same way I roast people around the table, it's not good. She'll be like, what the? And then she'll come back at me and she'll be like, you're a goddamn. And I'm like, what? That's just mean. And she's like, oh, what? It's okay when you do it, but I can't come back. I'm like, no, you just said something really mean. Like, what? That wasn't even funny. There was no, she's like, yours wasn't funny. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of that self-censorship when you're in a relationship. Not a whole lot. We're pretty open and honest with each other, but I guess in some situations, like I guess now I'm doing it.
I think you like it when he's told me that on the podcast. He's like, be feisty. Like, tell me where to go. Tell me. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, because you are in real life, you're feisty. And then on the podcast, sometimes you're just like, oh, that's mean. But we're in real life, you would tear me a new one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do that on the podcast. Otherwise, it just seemed like a bully.
But to answer the question, I think I'm also guilty of a combination, because like you said, I don't feel like I pick my battles. I don't want to have a fight just so I can say what I want to say. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And no one's perfect. And that's one thing you realize, like, we've been together 12 years, like, you realize that nothing's perfect. Like, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. Yeah. There's not going to be days where everything is roses all the time. Like, you just have to decide what you want to be honest about.
There's this thing where it's like, you're like, why does my partner do this and this and this? And why are they not more like me? And you're like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't want to marry myself anyway. So
yeah,
it takes time to break through and realize that you're like, oh, okay, this is who this person is.
Yes.
And I accept that. And sometimes they work on stuff and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Your house is so clean, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it's so tidy. I'm just impressed.
I'm not showing you the messy side of the counter. There's like Piper's artwork and stuff.
Well, that's
Father's Day.
Aw,
by the way, Aaron, I want to ask you about, so you mentioned your show, which is In Hot Water on compoundmedia.com, and great show. I want to ask you, and you do these theater shows called Comedians of the Compound, and you guys were in Austin. How the hell I watched it again last night because it's so great. You were on InfoWars with Alex Jones. How did that happen? First of all, great appearance. It was so funny. He's
Thanks.
very different when he's around comics than he is just solo.
Yeah,
on the show.
he's real. I watched him on Andrew Schultz's show yesterday. He's so silly and fun.
Yeah, and so many little throwaway lines that just under his breath. So damn funny.
He's like a higher energy Bert Kreischer.
Right.
Yeah, there's something interesting. How did it come about? I think a lot of people, it's weird. Our podcast is satire. So basically what we do is like this off the rails podcast that started out making fun of stuff that conservative people would make fun of, but we were also making fun of conservative people. And now we became lumped in with this quote unquote conservative podcast world.
Right.
Which I don't lean into. You know, I'm very liberal in a lot of things, but I'm very conservative in terms of other things. My co-host has gone full tinfoil hat. He is just like, but you can't tell him he's wrong about anything because he did not wear a mask anywhere in New York City. He was riding the subway. He's like, this thing is all, it's just a flu. No one cares, blah, blah, blah. And he did it. And now, of course, all this stuff is coming out where he's like, I told you I was right. I told you I was right. So anyways, we've been kind of like clustered in with that. We went to, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, comedy has taken this turn that people will be like, oh, these people are conservative. You look at the most successful people doing it right now, like a Rogan. People call Dave Chappelle a conservative, you know, because of his leanings. And it's like, if he does trans jokes, they're like, he shouldn't be able to do that. He shouldn't be able to talk about Wade. Chappelle does some stuff I disagree with, like the whining about Comedy Central money was like, wait, really? You need to whine about how Comedy Central does. Anyways, my point is there's this cluster and it's really just the funniest people for the most part. There's a few exceptions. But we're going down. We either have to be on Rogan or Alex Jones. And Anthony Cumia, who owns the network, he was doing Rogan. So he was like, come by if you want to come by with me. I was like, I don't want to like ride coattails into Rogan. So I'm like, we're going to do Alex. Someone reached out. They're like, you should do Alex Jones. And I talked to the producer. I didn't even know it was the producer. I was like, hey, we want to do the show. He's like, yeah, come down. Come by the studio. Like, so which show are we doing? He's like, Alex. I was like, oh, this is great. And then I got there and they just thought it was me. And poor Gino's just sitting in the green room and they're like, we just had Aaron booked. And so I go, I'll get you on. But it was, you know, he's so crazy. But then, of course, the cancel culture mob is like, here's Aaron Berg canoodling with Alex Jones. They're planning stuff. So it's really interesting, the people that you get to. I did Tim Pool's podcast. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's like, and none of these people are conservative. They're just kind of free thinkers. If you called him a conservative, he'd be really weirded out by it. But I did that. And I mean, these people have like 1 million subscribers. There's a voice in this country that is odd as you may look at it. I heard on CNN the other night, 1 in 3 people still don't believe Joe Biden won the election.
Yeah.
So it's like 33% of people in this country really don't think that he's the president. Like you think of people that go like, Trump's going to come back it up. You're like, these people must be nuts. And you're like, oh, it's 1 out of 3.
Yeah,
clearly I'm the 1 out of the 3 right now. But
do you think he's coming back in August?
No, I don't think he's coming back.
Let me ask you about Alex Jones. Is he for real? Do you think like is it a character? Like he's got a? Do you think he hams it up for the 1 in 3 that listen to a show? Do you think he really believes everything he says? Because it seems like he shows such a different side when he's on hanging out with comics. It's like I feel like that's a glimpse of who he really is versus, you know, Sandy Hook isn't real and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think Dave Smith probably said it the best. Like Alex Jones is right about like 95% of his stuff, but then the stuff he's wrong about is just so over the edge that he loses everybody. I think he's probably a really smart guy. I mean, years ago, Doug Stanhope would go to Alex Jones for everything. I mean, a lot of Stanhope's act was built on like conspiracytheory.com. I don't know. I mean, he's very eccentric. I don't like the constant deplatforming and it's like, even if there's a crazy voice, why why do you have to shut it down?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I don't, here was the double standard for me was like, okay, after January the 6th, which was great. I was there. We had a great time. I'm joking. I wasn't there. But after that, where it's like you take Trump off of all social media because you deem him dangerous. But then it's like on the other side, Ilhan Omar and all these people are saying horrible things that are in fact creating violence, then they get to stay up. So I think that freedom of speech has to be absolute, unless you're saying go out into the market square and shoot Jews. Right. That is like, that to me is over the line. I always define hate speech as inciting violence or creating violence. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what it was. So I think Alex Jones is nutty and wacky, but he's really created a thing. If you get a chance and you go down there, the studio is like a Rogers Cable studio. Like you've done those Rogers Cable morning shows. It's like that. It's huge. It's expansive. And you're like, wow. And he does commercial reads every 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, right after those Austin shows, like a week and a half later, there was a mass shooting right in front of the Vulcan Gas Company.
That's what the theater you guys played, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's like a bar venue, but it's, and that's where obviously Tony Hinchcliffe got in trouble recently too.
Right.
Do you guys have that trouble and that divide in comedy still in Canada?
Yeah, I mean, it's not so blatant, like we don't see it that much, but I mean, honestly, the last time there was a big rift and a big comedians against comedians for this kind of stuff, you were involved. It was the White Guys Matter tour when you came up and did that appearance on the Todd Shapiro show. That was like that was the last like big public one.
Well, what about the Shanti Marastica incident? And also, didn't Jen have an incident a couple years ago, like at a golf course?
Yeah.
Where there was,
sexual harassment.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's still, what happened with that?
The Shanti, I don't know much about it, but I did ask someone recently, like, I haven't seen much of him. They?
I think them is what you're supposed to. I think them. Otherwise, otherwise Laura Ray will Facebook message you. I think it's them. I think you have to say them. Whatever it is, them was raping girls. Them was choking ladies.
What a time to be alive.
Them was using their position of power at the comedy bar to finger girls.
Oh my God.
He thinks them doth protest too much.
Oh fuck! I didn't even know all the details about that, but I think you summed it up pretty nicely.
Them was choking and fingering ladies. That's what them was doing. I don't know.
It sounds like you could easily have a misunderstanding too. It's like how many were involved? Them. Like it's like,
was
oh my
this
God.
a gang rape?
Yeah.
Then they left after.
Are we gonna get letters? I don't know. It's too much. It's too much.
This is good morning laughter. I don't get this a lot.
It is good.
It's so really insane.
I know. It's
so insane that the people that push, the people that are the most, I'm telling you, everybody that's like one of these cancel people is a mental patient and they've done horrible things.
It's
the
like Bill Cosby.
That come after me,
same thing.
Bill Cosby.
It's the same thing.
The people that came after me, and I'm not going to get that into it, but there was a girl. She was dating a guy. He overdosed and died. Less than a year later, she's dating his best friend that also just happens to dabble in fentanyl, which killed the guy.
Shut the fuck up.
The other guy, that Seth guy in Idaho, he said allegations of like sexually assaulting women, but he still like goes after comedians. It's these people that Shanti, weeks before she went down, she was like calling me a piece of trash.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden, she or they. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've gotten into it with them. I'm sure it was when they were taking a break from choking and fingering girls for spots. What a scumbucket.
Yeah. I heard that they are no longer in the scene at all. Like now
no way.
Yeah. Well, that's what I heard, but I mean, algorithms on Facebook and social media, Instagram. I don't, some comic told me that they kind of had to disappear from the scene after all that shit went down.
But it boils down to honesty again. Like, oftentimes, I don't want to generalize and say all clean comics, but there's a lot of times where clean comics have these shady pasts and the stories from the road and stuff. But I think it boils down to honesty. If you're like so honest on stage and you're an open book, you've got nothing to hide ever. Like, whatever you say on stage, that's everything. There's nothing, there's.
Well, even when that whole shit went down with me with being sexually harassed, I took some interviews, but I had to stop at some point and then I noticed all these many other comics who were not as experienced and as maybe didn't do as much in comedy.
Yeah.
Women were all of a sudden wanting to step up and be this spokesperson for the movement and stuff. And I think what I learned from that was it felt a bit like I had to be this instead of just being a human being that went through an experience that felt terrible and unnecessary. And it's so quick how it became just a shitty experience that shouldn't have happened to this cause. And it's like that can get overwhelming and intimidating because then all of a sudden you feel like you need to speak the right language and speak for an entire cause.
Right.
Whereas really I was just somebody who was a professional that wanted to be treated with respect, ultimately, an individual. But then it turned into this whole thing. And there was like a bunch of female comics that were not very experienced that were like, I want to take this and ride with it. And it's like, no, this was my experience of trying to just ultimately just be a comedian.
Yeah.
That
and
was
also it
with
takes
respect.
away from the ability with which you should properly be able to deal with it as an individual.
Absolutely.
And go, okay, this is a shitty thing that happened. And also it can hurt.
Yeah.
So I can also deal with the way that it hurt me because people aren't just looking at me as an equal. So let me do that. But no, I don't need these 2-year-in comedy grifters to grab onto this thing and be like, hey, this is happening to all of us. It's like,
exactly.
No, it's not. You haven't even done 20 sets yet.
Absolutely.
So you're not even qualified. This thing
100%.
about, it's still, say what you want. There's still a meritocracy thing to comedy where you earn this position by being funny. And a lot of people just try to, I don't know if stolen valor is the term. I don't think that's their intention, but they're just trying to grab on to whatever it is. And it's like, look what happened to Jen. We need more equal rights at my level too. And it's like, no, you got to buy 2 drinks to go on stage. Just shut up and do it.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting about that is when I started, and I'm sure you'll agree, when I started, I was actually quite like, I'm not quite ready to, like, I'm so like, oh, I don't know yet. I want to get better before I actually jump on that bandwagon. Yeah. Like I've noticed a trend that most comics that say, oh, I could have done better. I wish I should have done this. I should have done that. Instead of saying, oh, I killed or whatever, wanting the attention. It's like, do you want to be a comedian? Like, obviously I do want on some level some attention and I do have an ego and I do still want people to like me. Of course I do. But the motivation was to be a performer and to be a comedian. It wasn't to get the attention only. Like sometimes it seems like people just want the attention and then it doesn't matter how well they did. They don't care about the craftsmanship at all about the comedy. Yeah. It's like, how well did I do? I just killed. And like all about the image and all that kind of shit. And
David Tell still walks off stage and angrily slaps the wall and goes, they suck.
Yeah.
So it's like when and I don't care what you say, David Tell's probably the funniest living comedian in the world. Right? But it's like when he's that upset about it because all he cares about is the art of it, you're like, oh, okay. And he's that good. So it's like, that is really what it's about is banging stuff like that out. I did a summer of shows with him, which was this past summer. We would do outdoor shows. So every night I'd get to go on stage with Dave for like 45 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just like go back. And it was the loosest I'd ever, he makes your brain so funny and you just spit stuff back and forth. And if you fall short, you'll be like, oh, is that one coming funny? And it'll just be like these little things where it's like your brain has to get so good to keep up with Dave Attell. But yeah, there's this sense that they deserve it before they deserve it now, and they don't. And it gets flushed out pretty quickly. But there's such a transgressive movement where these people blame audiences. I've had this happen where I've gone up and I do George Floyd type material now, and it's killing in front of every type of audience. It's about like getting pulled over and complying with the police. It's a great joke. I do. I had one joke that I did that is incredibly offensive, and it would get varied laughs. And I would say both Biden and Trump are horrible options because they're old white men, and we can't have a progressive nation with old white men leading us. Do you remember when Michelle Obama thought about running, how great that would have been to finally have a second black man as president? And so it's such a divisive joke. And like black people in the audience are like, wow, because the black heroes are set up that you can't say anything about them. And I go, clearly, I don't believe Michelle Obama's a man. It's just like people on the internet that believe that, crazy people like Barack Obama. And then so it's like a doubling down. But I've done those jokes. And then friends of mine, like women of color, have gone up afterwards and literally blamed the audience for laughing at that. And diverse audiences, and being like, why would you laugh at what he said? That's mean to women of color. That's mean to, and it's like, the audience isn't wrong. You don't need to send these people to thought control camps and get new audiences in. There's still something, as antiquated as it is, we learned this. And it's like, whether it was from Wilmot or whoever, it's like, you go into a basement, the lights are dark, and you get to say things that you can't say out there. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the magic of stand-up. And to take that away, to be like, it's all got to be correct, it's all got to be wishy-washy, it's wrong. It is supposed to be counterculture. I joke about it on stage now. I'm like, I'm a successful white guy, also known as a counterculture comedian. So it's really, it's an odd time for comedy. And I think that it'll come back around. It's also, COVID didn't help. Like, when you guys get back, you're going to feel this sense of joy and elation from being back in a room full of people. And the first few shows are going to be so fun. And then after that, you're like, ugh, there's drunk bachelorette people here again. Like, it does go right back to that.
When you do a show in a comedy club right now, are there any masks at all?
No, you don't have to when you're sitting down. Like most people, if you're vaccinated, I got vaccinated. So if you're vaccinated, you don't need a mask inside or outside.
So you never wear a mask anymore? Wow.
On the bus.
Okay.
On the bus, you have to. But if I get on and like a black guy takes his off, I'm like, I'm with this guy. And then I just take mine off. I don't know why, but I just feel empowered. So on the bus, you have to, but nowhere else. There's some stores will have signs up like you must wear a mask to enter. And you just walk in. Or
do you have a way to prove that you have a vaccine right now? Like,
I have a vaccine card. I have it, like a picture of it on my phone, but no one asks.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be kind of hard to enforce, I think. I just got like a piece of paper. I just want to ask, that notion of going downstairs into a dark comedy club and saying absolutely anything and pushing the boundary is comedy. But do you think with cell phones that's almost an impossible reality? Because people can record and put
the
shit on the
comics are the ones throwing people under the bus.
That's
now.
true. That's actually a good point.
Jeff Singer went down because Mayron Kegnani outed him. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Oh, Jeff Singer's gone. Remember from Just for Laughs?
Yeah, right. Yes, I heard that. Yeah.
He dropped a couple N-bombs at a comedy club just in conversation. Oh, yeah. He was like, well, you guys could say it. Why can't I say it? And he literally dropped about 4 or 5 of them, and someone added him, and they're like, yeah, and Jeff resigned a couple days later. He was a douche. Anyways.
I remember that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He booked me once. I still haven't ever really been at Just for Laughs. I went up and did warm up one year. They brought me up to do warm up.
Weird.
Still never done the nasty show. 20 years
You're
ago.
perfect for the nasty show. I mean, that's right up.
Yeah,
that's.
I know. But yeah, cameras. I mean, look, I'm in a position where there's no such thing as bad press. So it's like, even if I get a horrible write-up or something, it kind of bumps my brand because my brand is uncensored. My brand is unapologetic. I always came from the school where it's like, you never apologize because these people don't want an apology. They want your head on a platter. So if you apologize, they just will go, your apology's not good enough. What about these people you offended? You need to apologize more. So I just don't. I try to be the best person that I can be. I think the cameras, yeah, you catch some stuff, but there's like most of it now is they're digging for the past anyways. Like when the trouble all like people try and get me and they'll be like, here's Aaron Berg dressed as an Asian lady. I'm like, yeah, I did that. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Here's Aaron Berg with a turban on pretending he's in ISIS. Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
I like what you said at the beginning, which pretty much says it all. If your motivation, and I've said this too, if your motivation is not to be unkind and you're actually a good person, how can you go wrong? You know, in a lot of ways, that is a very good policy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you find you're a lot more productive being sober?
Yes.
How long has it been now? Like 5 years? What
8 years and
8 years?
change.
Crazy.
Wow. Yeah. It changed my life. I was just waking up at 2 PM depressed. And I was like, my life isn't where I want it to be. My career is not where I want it to be. So I stopped drinking cold turkey. I started praying, which is odd. And not in a Christian way. I would just kind of, vocalize what I wanted in life. And that worked for me. And then it started to come together. I was like, I wanted someone to love, and I wanted a family, and I wanted to, be respected for my work and be able to work all the time. And, that happened. Being sober was a big part of that. Huge part of that.
Yeah, and you have done so much. It's been so fun to watch from a distance. You go from what have I done sitting on that futon to one of the top comics to come out of New York. And I'm a talk radio nerd. I listen to all the shows. You're constantly on all of them regularly, and it's super cool to.
And Jules, you're sober too.
Yes, yeah, also sober.
Congrats. How long?
Thank you. On and off. It would be just over a year, but I fell off the wagon last fall for a few weeks and went back on. So all told, just about maybe 210 days.
Was it fun going off the wagon?
Not even. Not like the
it
first.
It feels awful. I picture it. I picture that first hangover, and it must be like, oh.
You romanticize it. You go, yeah, it's just awful, and you feel gross, and you feel just like such a failure, because deep down I wanted to be sober. I know, like, I want to. This is how I feel better. I thrive. Literally every aspect of my life is better sober. That's what you want. So, but you convince yourself, this little part of your brain, that'll just be fun. Just allow yourself a couple weeks, or even once. You go, I'll just drink once and then I'll be back on. But once you drink once, you go, well, I'm at day 0, so may as well add a couple more days to this. And then a couple weeks later and a month, and you're like, fuck, you just feel shitty and like a failure. And then
That's
it's like
scary
a mountain.
to me.
Yeah, it is. And it's just like a mountain to get back on. Yeah, as soon as you slip up, you go. Because when you're sober, you have this mentality of, I'll slip up, and then I'll just, like, the next day, I'll be back on track. There's no falling off track. But that slip up fucks your mentality up so much where you go, well, I'm at day 0. So let me enjoy a couple more days of this. What's the harm? Wow. I'll start tomorrow. And then a few days turn into a week, turn into months so fast. And then you go, oh my God, I've been drinking again for whatever, how many weeks or months. And then it's,
because I still think about it. I'll be like, maybe there's, everything's going well. Maybe I could have a few glasses of wine. And it goes through my head where I'm like, it'd be so nice to just, because I've never drank with my wife. And I'd be like, but now you put it into perspective where, it shifts you mentally. You don't have that same mental capacity that you do when you're sober as soon as you slip up.
It's just a switch that goes off. And even if you're conscious of that switch, the possibility of it going off, you go, I'll control it. I won't let that switch go off. It goes off. Like you just flick, you go, fuck, I'm back. And you feel like you're in such a hole and you have to dig yourself. Then it's like, okay, I have to quit again, then go through the withdrawal symptoms. Then, especially if you start drinking again, if you slip up around people, then you have to re-educate people in your circle that you've quit again. It's like this whole thing. And that's how I started again. I'm like, I'll drink alone so no one knows. So if no one knows, then it's like it never happened. I'll just know.
Yeah.
But you drink once, then you drink around Jen, and then some friends are, you're drinking again? Yeah, but I'll be off again. It's just this whole mess. You open up this Pandora's box, and it's like never ending.
And you get all the pressure from your friends.
Yeah, it's best to
stay back home and like, well, come on, drink. But if you just stop drinking and you never go back, then you don't have to have a conversation again and the pressure. And
it's so not worth it. It's
good for you for getting back on.
Yeah, thanks. It's really like I said, literally every aspect of my life is better sober.
Yeah, I remember my detox was literally 5 weeks. I couldn't leave my house. Wow. Like I would fill myself up with cold pills just to be able to go do spots. I was so achy, so tired. I had to cancel road work. I couldn't go to the airport. It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to drink every day, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bottles of wine.
Yeah, I remember in Astoria. Well, we all did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's just
a shit show. We actually reference you often in this house, just as like this one thing you did, just as like a joie de vivre kind of person that just enjoys the moment. I remember we often do this act out, Jen and I, in your honor.
Still to this day.
Yeah, we were sharing like, I don't know, kielbasas and Italian sausages, like
and
cut
red
up.
Wine?
Yeah, and red wine. We cut up the sausages on a plate with different mustards and stuff, and we're on our balcony in Astoria, and you took a fresh sausage and dipped it in mustard and put it in your mouth and took a swig of wine, and then you were
almost like a conductor. You were like,
this
really?
Yeah. You were like, oh my God. And so we. Every time we have something good, like we'll take a good bite of food or something, we go like this, like, oh my God. Yeah.
Joie de vivre.
Yeah.
And remember that we won't necessarily reiterate the story, but another thing we talk about often was we both referenced a comedian that lives in Alberta. And I said, I have a story about him. And then you said, I have a story about him too. And then you told this insane story about Lethbridge or something. And like it was like a road story about a one night stand or something, and I won't go into too many details. I don't know. I know that you're an open book.
No, you can say details without mentioning the comic's name. So Jen goes, "Oh my God, I have the story about this comic, the craziest story ever." And you go, "Oh, I have one. I had a threesome with him in Lethbridge, and he had poor threesome etiquette, and he just finished on my pillow and left the room," or something along those lines. And you go, "What's your story?"
Oh, yeah. And then I was about to tell my story. Then you went ahead and told the story, and then you're like, "What's your story?" And then I'm like, "I can't tell my story now. I can't follow your story."
Tell him it was about you, that he was selling merch, his album on a USB stick after a show at an open mic.
Oh my God, was it Daryl Mack?
Yeah. We worked in
yeah. Who does that? Who is a threesome and finishes on someone's pillow? And now I can't even remember who the girl was. But oh my God, I'm upset now. Now I get why people dislike that guy. On my pillow.
Yeah.
Oh. But picture me, okay? I'm like dee, like I'm like, I have a story, and then I'm about to tell it, and then you're like blah blah, this crazy story, and I'm like this, like my jaw is dropped, but I love it. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
And then you're like, so what was your story? And I'm like, I am not telling it. Like
he was selling his act on USB sticks at an open mic.
Oh, I'm like, I can't follow that.
This happened when I did the "This Is Not Happening" thing, and I did this hot chocolate story. Afterwards, I went to the Comedy Store, and it was me and Sal Volcano and Bert Kreischer and Doug Stanhope. And so Berg goes, Sal, what was your story? And Sal goes, this package got delivered from UPS and it took way too long. Berg just starts dying and he goes, he threw cum at a man. And so it was just like the different thing where it's like all the good stories are about cum, I guess.
That's so funny.
Shit.
Do you have any, and are you coming back to Canada at any point? Do you think?
When it opens,
Okay,
I will
great.
do, I do Niagara Falls and I'll do Toronto and then maybe Ottawa too.
Fun. Well, you have to tell us if you come back.
Of course.
And if we go back to visit, haven't visited in a long time, when things open up,
Please
love to
do.
get back.
Please
Yeah.
come down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hang
man.
out at the beach. Go catch some bass.
Oh, it'd be so nice.
It's been so long since we've gone. I mean, we left. It'll be 10 years in November that we left New York already.
What the hell? That's so crazy.
I don't think I've gone once since. Have I? No. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. It's coming back. It's pretty bad right now. There's a lot of drugs and crime, but it's, that's part of the appeal of the city, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, catch Aaron Berg on In Hot Water on compoundmedia.com. You have a book. Jen didn't even know about your book, American Etiquette.
That's so
Yeah,
awesome.
American Etiquette and Mr. Manners. Those are both available. And then I got a bunch of albums out. 25 Sets is on Amazon. And my Patreon show is patreon.com/gumfridays. And it's my dog barking. And his name is Miho.
Cute.
And he's a Chihuahua.
Well, Aaron Berg, thanks, buddy. It was great catch up. It's been far
what a
too
pleasure,
long,
guys.
And we love you,
nice
buddy.
chatting with you, and congratulations on everything that's going so well. And your
Thank
house is
you, and you
gorgeous.
too.
And your family's beautiful, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much. It's so fun catching up. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk
All right,
soon.
bye, guys. Have a great day.
See ya. You too.
Yeah,
Bye.
you too.
See ya.
Bye.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Berg, the one, the only. That was fantastic.
Oh, that was awesome.
Great catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Great catch up, Sesh. Great guy. It's funny, that story.
And then he just dropped
Yeah,
his
he
name
just drops
and
the
everything.
name.
I was
Like, oh, whatever. What are we going to do?
I'm all like, dancing around it. He's like, oh, you mean Daryl Mack? And, yeah.
That was funny. So, yeah, go to aaronberg.com and follow his things coming up. In Hot Water is a great show that he does with Gino Bisconte on Compound Media. They do that every day, Monday to Friday, same as we do. All right.
That's the show he was talking about when he goes in to the city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very funny show. Very, very funny.
Oh, he's great.
Very funny guy, too.
Yeah,
so there it is. Well,
And nice.
Anything
And
to
genuine.
add, Jennifer Grant?
Oh, no, I'm good.
All right. Well, I think we can go for the close. This has been episode 400. Our 400th. Oops. 400th episode. We started off shaky with some technical issues, but we finished on a high note with Aaron Berg. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
We'll be back tomorrow for Thursday and Friday. Who do we have on Friday?
We have Dr. Stacia
Kelly. I keep wanting to say Dr. Kelly something, but Dr. Stacia Kelly, chiropractor. So so tune in Friday, and we'll be back tomorrow for Thursday. Thanks to Aaron Berg. Thanks to Jenny. I love you.
Love you.
Thanks to you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms, all that stuff. Follow on social media. We'll see you tomorrow, and until then, watch your head.
Bye, everyone.
Waste of time. I went to school, yeah, I learned a lot. Got a degree in what I'm not. You spend your life looking for what you already got. Such a beautiful waste of time. Waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Wandering eyes and itchy feet. I'm just a thin, nervous shadow walking backwards down the street. The landing is bitter, but the falling is oh so sweet. It's just a waste of
time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. The whole world wants a piece of my head, but they all get a piece of my mind instead. I roll over and go back to bed. It's such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time.